Welcome back to the Cozy Cottage Homestead. Today I'm going to be sharing my favorite kosher dill pickle recipe. And it is just about at the end of the cucumber season here on the homestead. But these pickles are still making, so don't think you can't just grow a few plants. I think I planted 6 and 4 made it. And now I'm on my, I think, 4th batch of making pickles. Alright, now we are in the kitchen. I've already got all of my cucumbers cleaned and cut up into spears, and I even found one out there that we're going to chop up and eat with our supper tonight. So I have all of my canning stuff ready. I'm going to be sharing with y'all my favorite kosher dill pickle recipe. Alright folks, we've made it back in the kitchen and we're going to get started with the kosher dill pickles. And this is my personal recipe. There's no other recipe that I know of like it. As many of you know, I'm a plain and simple Christian. I'm a country girl, and I'm going to share my recipe with y'all. This was like I don't remember, maybe like I said, the 4th batch, 5th batch, just me, I'm not sure. But those couple little few cucumber plants did amazing this year. So I've already have them cut up into spears and had them in the refrigerator overnight, so they'd be ready to go today. I'm going to read my ingredients to you. You're going to need 6 to 8 large cucumbers cut and washed and in spears. I used 2 quarts of regular vinegar, the white vinegar, 1 quart of apple cider vinegar, and about a ½ quart of water. Just depends on how I feel about it, if I think I need a little more or not. Usually that's enough. And you're going to need a ½ cup of plain salt or canning salt, and the salt you can adjust to your taste. I'm actually using a little bit less than some of the recipes that I've seen, but do what's best for you and your family. 1 teaspoon of dill seed. I prefer seed, but you could also use the dill weed. 1/8 teaspoon of mustard seed. 1/8 teaspoon of turmeric. 1/8 teaspoon of celery seed. 4 peppercorns. 1 clove, 1 whole clove, and then 1 clove of garlic, or you could use 1 teaspoon of minced garlic. I am fresh out of fresh garlic, so I will be using minced garlic today for this recipe. And also you can add 1 muscadine grape leaf. And the leaf, why would you add the leaf to your pickles? That is going to help keep it crunchy. It detards the enzymes that make the fruit or the vegetable turn soft. So if you want that nice, crisp, fresh, crunchy tasting pickle, go ahead and add a grape leaf if you have it. So I believe that is all of the ingredients. So you're going to process pints. I'm using the wide mouth pints for 10 minutes in my area in a water bath. Now that's once the water comes to a boil. I set my timer for 10 minutes. And let's see, what else was it? So yeah, I just made a note, so I remember to tell y'all, once it comes to a boil, then set your timer for 10 minutes. Quarts, if you were doing quarts, is about 20 minutes in a water bath, depending on your climate, your altitude, and all that. So look it up to be sure. But here in the South, that's what mine is. 10 minutes for pints, 20 minutes for quarts. And for best results, this is the one I have a problem with. I can't wait hardly. Wait 4 to 6 weeks and you'll get the better pickled, it'll be pickled, done its thing already, and they'll taste, sorry about that, that was the doorbell, the driveway alarm. But for best results, Curly, could you quit? I'm going to have to cut that out. So for best results, it's better to wait 4 to 6 weeks before you get into those delicious kosher dill pickles. I'm going to go ahead and get the spears packed into the pint-size wide mouth jars, and I'll bring you back. Alright, so before I do the packing them in the jars. I just have the 1 quart of vinegar. I already have 2 quarts in my pot of the white vinegar. I'm going to put it in the pot, and then I'm going to catch a half a cup of water in here. And yes, I said a half a cup of water, a half a jar of a quart-sized jar of water. Add that to our pot. And then I have that half a cup of plain salt, or you can use canning salt, pickling salt, whichever you have. And I'm just going to stir it up a little bit. I'm going to bring this brine to a boil and let it simmer for about, I don't know, maybe 5-10 minutes. And then that's going to be our pickle vinegar that we're going to add to our jars. And then now I'll bring y'all right back for the next step. Okay, everything is hot. Everything is going good. The water in my canner is almost out of boil, so what I did was turned it down so it would stay hot until I got the jars filled up. Now I got 7 of the wide mouth pints, and what I do is I have my muscadine leaves, grape leaves, is just roll them up and stick one in the side and push it down beside on the edge so that I know where it is. Some people just have a thing about seeing stuff like that, but just that way I know it's on the edge. I can just get a fork later and pull it right out. So I'm just going to go ahead and finish these, because if I don't do this step first, I'll probably forget about it. And I have forgotten, so if you don't have the grape leaf, usually they're still good, but if they're canned like longer than a year, which mine never, I already told y'all, I have a hard time waiting. Mine don't usually make it a year. I forget, but they're still good, but they will get a little softer after a year if you don't use the grape leaves. So it definitely helps. So we'll get those all stuffed in there, and don't pack your jars so tight that you can't get your pickles out once they make, because then they'll break and fall apart. So make sure there's a little bit of space in there, but yet, you know, make sure it's full. You want to use the most of your space. So I have all of those done. Now we're going to add 1 teaspoon of, let's see, where did I put it? The dill seed. 1 teaspoon on top on each jar. I think that's the end of that one. Let's get us another one open. And usually before canning season, I'll do a little inventory, make sure I have all of my ingredients. So that you don't get in the middle of something and run out, have to run to town. Eventually I'll make my own dill seed, but I'm not there yet. So the next one is the mustard seed. It's going to be 1/8 of a teaspoon. Alright, I'll set that on the side so we know we've used it already. And then we're going to do 1/8 of a teaspoon of turmeric powder. Now we do harvest our own turmeric here on the homestead. This is the year that we will be harvesting it again to make more turmeric powder. I just refilled my spice jars. I think I did a video on that a while back. Maybe I'll link it to this video. Celery seed, same thing, 1/8 of a teaspoon. I'm going to be doing another batch, but I'm just going to show y'all this first batch, because I still have a good bit more to do. Now we have 1 whole clove. We're just going to add 1 to each jar. Okay. And then we're going to add peppercorns. I'm going to add about 4. If you don't like yours with just a little bit of spice to it, which kosher dills usually have a little spice to it. Or you could just put like 1/8 of a teaspoon if you don't want to try to count them out. Some of mine probably have a little more, some probably have a little less, but it's going to be good either way. Okay, and now we're going to use minced garlic. Get it open. And we're going to use, let's see, 1 teaspoon of minced garlic or 1 clove. And this is going to make it that kosher dill pickle. If you add the garlic, it's going to be more of what you think of as a kosher dill pickle. Alright, so now all we're simply going to do is fill it up with our white vinegar and our kosher and our apple cider vinegar and our salt, and then we're going to debubble it, put the lids on it, and put it in the water bath canner for 10 minutes once it comes to a boil. And I'll bring y'all back whenever I get these filled up and show you what they look like before I put them in the canner. Alrighty folks, we have our first batch in the canner. All we gotta do now is wait for the water to come to a boil and then let it process for 10 minutes and then pull them out and set them in a cool dark place and try not to eat them for about 4 to 6 weeks. It's just that easy to can your own pickles. We have our last batch of pickles done. So all I did was using a bath towel, set it on my little bar. I have 6 there already. My goal was 12 pints of kosher dill pickles. And I forgot, I don't know if I introduced myself. I think I said a little bit about myself, but I'm Rebecca. And these are going to be called Mall Becca's Best Kosher Dill Pickles. My grandkids called me Mall Becca. So let's get that last batch out the canner and you can get a peek at how they look. They turned out beautiful. Okay, so that's our 13 pints of the kosher dill pickles that are cut into spears. And the ones that were too long for the jars, they have the little ends. I just cut them off. So I'm calling this a jar of yum yum pickles because it's just the little pieces that were too long that I trimmed off. These will not make it probably but 24 hours and they'll be yum yum gone. The rest of them I'm going to do my best to wait the 4 to 6 weeks. So if you have any questions, just leave me a question in the comment. And thanks for joining me today. And farewell, Homestead family, friends, and neighbors from the Cozy Cottage Homestead.